I'm live. What's up? Figure it out. I'm Dan Fredenberg. My hat says funnelfixing.com, and that's cool. But yeah, good. I see my audio's going. I'm not sure if I go. Okay, that came out there, but it looks like it's not coming through the microphone. So I better be careful not to say or anything like that. Yeah, I'm going to watch my Figure It Out videos. 2x speed, and if anybody wants to watch along, or there's basically the most important reason is just see if anything's changed since my first video, which was February 20th, or was it 10th? I don't know. I can't even remember anymore, but it was 2020, before lockdown, all that kind of crap. So I'm going to watch this shit and just see what happens. But I'm going to watch it at 2x speed. And I'm going to watch as many of them as I can handle before I just say, you know what, screw it, I'm signing off for the day. So let's take a look. Okay.
Hello, everybody. This is Dan Fredenberg from Figgerridouts.com. You kind of funnelfixing.com, whatever you want. Blah, 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 blah. Today, this is the first video I'm going to do to try and get the daily content thing going. Obviously, I'm going to record a whole bunch of little ones. They're going to be short, and I'm going to address like this for all of the video today. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is I'm going to talk about computers and how they work and make it a metaphor for how the human mind works. So let's talk about this. So the first thing you need to understand will be storage space. So your hard drive. Because your hard drive, if you want to think about it psychologically, it's like it's your long-term memory. So if you can remember stuff from your childhood or things that happened a long time ago, that's going to be your storage space. So your hard drive. So the idea is that you store lots and lots of stuff for a very, very long time, and it does all you retrieve. That's the idea of having storage space. If you lack storage space, then you're going to have trouble remembering a long time ago.
So far, I can see as I just would say this a lot faster now.
How much stuff can you keep in your head at one time? And one of the problems when you're trying to think about psychology or think about the mind, it's you're using the tool that you want to measure the tool. So it's just like your only tool is a ruler, and you're trying to measure the ruler. You're behind the 8 ball. You can't really do it because you can't compare something against itself. That's how the mind works. So the way you identify whether your short-term memory is really good is by trying to understand a very sophisticated theory that has lots of different facets, lots of bits, moving pieces, and see what works. So a computer is a decent example of this. They aren't actually that many parts, and their rules are actually very simple. So if you've got lots of random theory, you can a lot of stuff in your head at one time, process quickly. An example would be like Excel file, where you've got quarterly contacts in it, maybe like millions of pieces of data, something like that. So you've got lots of random, you can blast it really quickly. Now CPU, which is processing unit, what that is, that's your raw intelligence and your ability to solve problems. So there are multiple definitions of intelligence, which I'll talk about in another video. But if you distinguish between storage space, so you'll come off as being really intelligent if you've got exceptional long-term memory. You'll come off as very intelligent if you've got exceptional short-term memory. You can take many parts of an argument, put them all together at once, and make it into a visible package. You'll come off as intelligent. I use smart for the CPU part, which is if you can synthesize new information, so it tells you something new, and you can process it and then match it up with the other things that you know, then make sure that you really understood. So that's what CPU does. Is it takes new information, processes it, and it spits it out in a way that you need it. The next thing we have are more closely related that are outside the mind. It's like, for example, a video card. It has to do with processing the information the CPU puts out. It goes, okay, well, it should look like this. One thing to understand about Windows and computers in general is that there are no windows to the computer. The Windows is something we project meaning into what we see on the screen.
There is no spoon.
Well, that's what the computer is no difference. All it knows is the location of your cursor, and it knows it doesn't grid. So I'm going to try to compare. Okay, so it starts off with this corner right here, for example, and says, okay, that's why I'm going to call that 0, 0, and then when we move on, it'll be 0, 1, and then 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, 4, and then the next one, which will be 1, 0, and then it'll be 1, 1, and then 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, and what they do is each different pixel, each different monitor, they have that address, and they say, I will give you this color. And that's it. Okay, so like all the thinking of Windows something, that's something the programmer ends up adding into the computer system to make it so that we can see makes sense. Anyways, so that's the main thing I want to cover was just understanding the main parts of the computer. And there's also a modem, just you can think of the computer just just another way of getting information from the computer and into your computer so you can process it and display it in a way that makes sense to you. So I know that in a lot of ways these distinctions are not so great, but the main thing I wanted to talk about was help you understand what CPU does and how it relates to a mind, how it's multi-line, and then RAM, the short-term memory, and then also the long-term memory. The other reason so that you can talk to somebody and have a good idea of their full level of intelligence based on multiple factors, because it's very rare for somebody to be exceptional at all three. And personally, I know that the long-term memory is absolutely exceptional. My short-term memory is also exceptional. My CPU is exceptional. The thing is, that's the only ones where I can say I've met people who forgot me. It's sometimes new information coming in, and one of the biggest reasons is my trains of thought are extremely detailed and complex. And so the thing is, like, when you change tracks and follow whatever something else is going on to, sometimes I need to do an adjustment. So I may be a little bit slower than other people run into, but that's just a way of looking at intelligence. Hopefully that's one for you. If you want somebody who has a brain or knows business, all that kind of stuff, like here.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that sales pitch goes into where I was thinking about that point, which is just I was going like, hey, I know I need to sell something about myself, and I'm going like, all right, so if we're going to have an honest assessment of where I am, because that's part of selling yourself, that's what comes to mind.
Or you can go to Figgerridouts.com, which is Figgerridouts.com. Don't figure it out. You can spell that again. But you can also offer things like attention to detail and learning how to do things from zero that will improve your career or build your business. Hope that was fun for you guys. Talk to you next time. Adios.
Bing. Next one. Clear your mind, sort your RAM. By the way, I'm taking all these.
Right here, Figgerridouts.com, fixing all that kind of jazz. And yesterday I was talking about using computers as a metaphor for the mind and understanding the type of intelligence and as a bonus, the fun part of understanding computers a little bit. So today I'm going to talk about mindfulness and continuing along that metaphor. So when you're talking about meditation, and usually people talk about meditation, it's not accurate in a Buddhist sense. The sitting there thinking about your day is not meditation. Meditation is bringing yourself to the center, basically paying attention to your own awareness, paying attention to your own consciousness, and realizing the details of all of that, the part of you that is independent of your thoughts, the part of you that's independent of what's going on, all that sort of thing. So the only problem though is that if you read Buddhism or anything like that, they'll be a little bit light on details as far as what the benefits are of that sort of mindfulness, that sort of meditation, and finding that center. And using the computer metaphor to relate to that, I found a very effective way to show what those benefits are. So the biggest benefit of mindfulness and getting used to meditation and paying attention to your own consciousness and not about anything that is created by your ego or anything like that is that it clears your brain. Okay, your short-term memory, just the amount of stuff that you've got in your head at one particular time. There are all these uncertainties in everybody's lives, all these changes that of course we don't want to do, all the different conflicts of saying like, hey, I want people to like me, oh, but I don't want to get used all the time, or hey, I don't want to be held to my moral obligations, or I'm afraid of making mistakes, or something like all these different hangups that you can have. These are all things that are sitting there in your brain, that's very real. And when you've got that stuff sorted out, you'll notice that you can think about yourself faster, you can learn faster, because you're not sitting there preoccupied with all the other stuff in your life. I remember the only elective that I was taking engineering was philosophy 101 and I was a friend prof because I found out that I was a philosopher. I've always thought about epistemology and metaphysics, and since that a lot of people, they don't even know that they're full study. Epistemology is about how you can be certain that you know what you're going to know. So that's a field study. It's been around for a few hundred years. It's seen regional, but I digress. So it's important to have your mind clear, and when you're reading and learning. And the philosophy prof that I became friends with, he had a way of saying that I don't really like. He said that he didn't learn how to read until he was already taking his master's. And I don't think that's a good way of expressing what he was trying to say. And what he's trying to say though is it's a new level of literacy that very few people can do, which is so many people, they got so much going on in their head that when they're reading something, when they're listening, they're trying to understand stuff, they're projecting their own stuff into what they're listening to, and so they're missing the point. They're missing the important bits that they need.
I'm not sure if I would have made that connection if I did the video right now, but I'm glad that I did. Just that going from it's so funny to switch speeds when I'm thinking at the speed of the video here, which I accidentally put it at 2.5 times. But yeah, I think it's interesting that I went to the clear your mind thing, and then I went over to basically trying to explain to people what it means when well, I'll continue in a second. Hang on.
To learn from the text that the author is trying to convey.
Right. Just to shut off your own shit for a second and focus on who you are, where you are, all that sort of thing. It's like, what is it actually like? Because what I'm doing is I'm assuming that you don't know. I'm assuming that you do have that problem where you're preoccupied, I guess you could call it, or you're dwelling or something. I think that's the biggest thing that I found is psychologically, I think it's the best thing from lockdown that you can that I've taken away, which is just realizing like dwelling as a habit, as being one of the big flags to look out for, as far as just being a happier person, making sure you don't dwell too much.
So what the better way of explaining what the prof was trying to say is that when you read, you also have to become aware of the distinction between what the person's saying and what they're not saying. So if you think about talking to your family and arguing with your family, one thing that frequently happens is they'll be a complete non sequitur. Just a total 180 that you're talking about dogs, and then suddenly you're talking about the price of fruit at a supermarket, and there is no relationship other than, hey, something clicked in my head that made me think of the price of fruit in a supermarket. And because I thought of it, there must be some sort of relationship, and I'm not sure what that relationship is. Unfortunately, that's not true. Sometimes stuff that goes into your head is not related to what's being discussed. So
what I'm saying here is that that's something that I think people are generally pretty guilty of. Is they'll just have a connection in their head while somebody's saying something, and they'll just assume that because it happened at the same time that it has some sort of relevance, and sometimes it doesn't. It really, really doesn't. And the reason why I can be so confident and say that I know this is because like in general, when a group is having a conversation around me, I'll know where people are coming from, and they'll be having two completely different conversations with each other, not even knowing that they're two different conversations. But I'm the guy who will be going like, oh no, well I could see that he's kind of doing a little dance, so he's probably asking this question because he has to go pee, and this person thinks that this person's asking because they're concerned about price, and so they're just a completely different situation. But anyway.
And one of the things that is absolutely necessary, you're going to see in that environment, is you have to be able to listen to that voice in your head saying something that may or may not apply, evaluating if it actually is something that applies and something you will share, and then to share it more. So if you want to be a better reader, if you do want to learn things faster, you do get a huge advantage from practicing mindfulness and just letting your thoughts flow off of you like water off a duck's back, as they say. Basically, you get this idea that the thoughts that come up your head, the things that pop up in your awareness, it's pushing your head in a particular direction. But the things you don't have to let it, you can let it, just let that slip off, slip away from your mind. Don't even focus on that. I use an exercise where I catch a thought arising and I say, go, and I'm not going on that train ride to that train of thought. I'm going all out. You just sit there, focus on your own awareness, clear your head, and then when you're reading something new or you're listening to somebody teach you something, you get all your stuff out of the way. So I really think this is an exercise that's of great value to people to clear your mind of all the excess crap that isn't helping anybody, maybe it's getting bent out of shape, but that form of mindfulness is the best trick that I'm aware of for getting those things all straightened out. So if you want somebody like me to help you out with your online business, you can look at frontfacing.com. I do business assessments, consultations, all that kind of stuff. If you just want to know more about mindfulness and things like that, you can check me out on Amazon, or you can book Figure It Out, which is on attention to detail and starting from zero and learn something new to help your career or your business get on track. Regardless, I hope this helps. See you again tomorrow. I'm Figgerridouts, frontfacing.com. It's just figgeritouts.com. Figgerridouts. Figure it out. Unless you're Canadian, then it's Figure It Out. Figure it out. Talk to you soon.
Figured it out. Yeah, cool thing about this is everybody sounds smart when they're faster.
What's up? It's Dan Greenberg, frontfacing.com, figgeritouts.com is the show, all that kind of fun stuff. This is more of the one-day little podcast things that I want to try out today. What we're talking about, it builds off of what I was talking yesterday using the metaphor of computer and RAM to understand the benefits of clearing coin and so you can learn more faster. Today, what I'm going to talk about is the golden mean and the fact that truth is a spectrum rather than just being binary. So the golden mean is an ancient Greek idea talking about how.
I'm going to pause it right there. So one thing that I learned since putting out the Figured Out series is that it sounds like a lot of the ancient Greeks were still kind of dicks. And I'm trying to remember what I heard. I heard something about, I think it was like Plato was basically saying that that women shouldn't be treated as equals or something like that. There was something I heard that was objectionable about their ideas, especially late in Plato's Republic. Right, yeah, because I started taking, there is a service called the Great Courses Plus, and now it's called Wondrium. It's called Wondrium, and it's at wondrium.com for reasons. Let's take a look here. Oh, yeah, there's my book. Oh, yeah, here's my book. My book, Figure It Out, the Attention to Detail Handbook. I mentioned it a couple times. It's on Amazon and Chisel. Anyway, so back here. Wow, I'm super duper overexposed. This must be like the worst thing to watch ever. Anyway, so I'm like crouching down here. Maybe I should scoot this up a bit. I'll just scoot it up. Holy smokes. Now that's much better, isn't it? Isn't that much, aren't you happier now? All right, so what do we got? I just wanted to mention that I heard some bad things about some of the ancient Greek philosophers that I hadn't heard. Especially, I hadn't heard too many bad things about Plato before until, Wondrium, the course is called The Great Ideas of Philosophy, 2nd edition. They got right now. They got a really good deal on accessing all their college level courses and professors and stuff. But just so that you know what the hell's going on, I put out 366 videos in 366 days on 366 different topics, going from February 2020 to February 2021. And what I'm doing right now is I'm watching them on 2.5 speed to see if lockdown or any of that kind of stuff really made me change my mind or my opinions on any of these things. I do know that some of them, they seemed a little bit, like the timing was coincidentally really close to, basically there were some things that came out that weren't a problem yet, and I was saying anyway, it was just kind of, it shouldn't be surprising at all that, I was talking about the Constitution being important and stuff like that when there was a constitutional problem. That there's always some constitutional problem. That's how it works. Anyway, I'm going to keep watching. Let's check it out.
When you have any virtue, like for example, honesty or courage, then there are two poles, north and south. This is a metaphor I use very frequently, the idea of pole, the holes on a magnet, because the idea is the two sides of a magnet, they're inseparable. If you cut a magnet in half, you still have a north and a south, magnetized sides. And the failing of most people understand an intellectual stance is usually that they are on one pole and they're saying, there you go, the other side doesn't exist. A good example would be with materialism and idealism. So materialism would mean that there is a thing called universe. Inside that thing called universe, there are things and they are material. And it so happens that there are people present in this thing called universe, but it is not necessary for people to be in that universe in order for that thing to exist. The idealist people would say, yes, there's a thing called universe, and yes, there are things called people who contemplate the universe, but basically without people, the universe would not exist. There must be an observer in order for the universe to exist. These two guys do not get along very well very often, and the more you research, the more fun it will be. But going back to more classic example, we're talking about courage. If you are too courageous, you're actually reckless. And if you're not courageous is enough, then you're a coward. So you get these two different poles. But the truth of what we are as a person or a thing or whatever is always in truth. It's never 100% on one pole or the other. This one doesn't allow that. So we get this idea of golden mean, saying that something can be partially true and partially false. An example to your gender politics right now would be, you're not necessarily a man, you're not necessarily a woman, you're something in between, and or you are more to one side at one time compared to another. So that is a tough pill for some people to swallow. You use these examples of using like courageousness to get an idea of things aren't necessarily true or false, get an idea of what can be possible for a person and the idea that we're changing all the time. This is also true for mental illness. So people have this idea of once you go off the deep end, then you're not for good. And since my best friend, I'm not patient of his, and I know that comes off as shaming people with mental illness issues. However, the thing I'm trying to emphasize is the reason why they allow temporary insanity as a defense in many countries is because you can go off the rock because somebody really pisses you off. Somebody threatens your kid, and then you just that's the whole idea of the Joker versus Batman. One of my favorite theories of the Joker is to say that the Joker believes that everybody's one bad day away from doing a full 180 as a person, ethically and otherwise, and they'll just snap and do an absolutely terrible thing. Hopefully you don't enjoy yourself better than that. But the important thing is to understand the way the mind works. It's not in one spot all the time. You are different one day to the next, depending on what's going on. So all I'm really trying to emphasize here is the next time you're thinking about something that's true or false, make sure you understand it's a spectrum. If you really believe that there's only one side of the argument, then you should start researching it. Me, because I'm Canadian, we're all raised.
I guess lockdown could even say that that disproved that theory. We're not one bad day away from going crazy and doing terrible things. It's a lot of days, and it's things actually didn't get as crazy as they could have been during lockdown. I think part of that was because people just went out anyway.
And educated in a very politically liberal environment, one where we do teach and believe in inclusiveness. We do believe in a welfare state, or at least we're push to believe that the welfare state is the correct solution for the world. So one thing that I ended up doing back 10 years ago or so is I read Barry Goldwater's book, Conscious and Conservative, and then that gave me an idea of where are these fiscal conservatives, and I'm being very specific by saying fiscal conservative because I don't want to conflate. I don't want to pretend that two separate things are the same thing. One thing that's included in the idea of conservative is that we should continue to act with the beliefs that we used to have. So the ideas of you should blaspheme, for example, because it will upset God or the gods or something like that. If you believe in separation of church and state, you would not be consistent if you insist that sort of thing should be enshrined in law. As a matter of fact, one of the things the Constitution of the United States was based on was the fact that when around Caesar was his. In other words, the laws should start and end in this world, not in any eternal afterlife, whether it exists or not. Basically, leave those sorts of ideas to the clergy, the church, one's own spirituality, investigation within themselves.
If I unwrap that a little, it's basically saying that, like, okay, laws can say, this person has to pay a fine or to go in jail or whatever it is. I'm saying like that's something that that are punishments inside the law, but the law doesn't say it's like, oh well, after you die you're going to live in someplace shitty for a long time. But I guess they do that often enough with the real world. It's like, you have to live someplace shitty because you were bad.
That sort of stuff, and leave the law to deal with what we should do with the people who have caused harm to another person in our civilized society. So I encourage you to take to look into the opposite viewpoint. And understand that truth is a spectrum rather than just, okay, this person is 100% right, this person is 100% wrong. Investigate the other side. You will find that there are some things that you thought that you could not rank them as being better or worse, but there are very sound.
Yeah, there's pretty much nobody who's a complete moron. That's it's really rare for somebody to have like no reasonable grounds for their belief at all. And still hold those beliefs near and dear, at least in my experience. I don't know. I'm that pretty. But,
that you can go through to find that that's not the case. I'm going to talk about a lawyer named Ken Wilber who does anything discussing religion, spirituality, and political movements in that sort of way. That'll be in some of these daily lessons, some daily podcasts, where you want to follow. They'll come next week based on the later. Anyway, if you want somebody who can be part of your business, or you want somebody to help out with getting all these different moving parts of the business of your career in one, then you can do a funnel assessment consultation on Fix.com. Otherwise, you just find some sort of stuff entertaining. You can Figgerridouts.com, Figgerridouts. So Figgerridouts.com for my show and all that kind of fun stuff. And you can hop onto Amazon and check out my book, Figure It Out, the Attention to Detail Handbook, which is about learning. And it's learning from zero to do things that will help your career or build a business. I'll talk to you tomorrow. It's held. Peace.
So 3 days in. It's hot in here. Hot.
Hello, welcome back. Day 4. I'm Dave Fradenberg, funnelfixing.com and figgeridouts.com. I'm talking about daily little tidbit, bite-sized piece of nifty knowledge. So like yesterday, I was talking about the little meme, talking about how truth is actually generally a spectrum between the thing and its opposite. So you can take a look at that. It wasn't, I didn't get as much depth as I hoped. So maybe if you comment and say, yes, I want you to use that for more examples, then I'm happy to do that. But today, I'm going to talk about something a little difficult. I'm talking about metaphysics and also constantly the fact of cognition, which you can find out more about through his particular reason. So metaphysics, right now,
I've explained this before to a few people that basically the order of the 366 topics, like part of it was like to show any value at all. It's basically to turn around to everybody and say, it's like, all right, well, people don't know about computers, so let's talk about that and say, all right, here's some stuff. Because like it's basically supposed to be available for the masses. It is public, so that's what it is. But basically, one thing they do in Buddhism in some heavy duty texts is they start off by saying, all right, well, this is what I believe, or this is what I know, and that's why you should listen to me. Like that's what they'll end up doing. But here, like more what I'd phrase it for my stuff is saying like, all right, well, if I go through these first few topics, it's me explaining, like where I get off, even opening my mouth in the first place, saying like, all right, this is what I know. And it's called like, I guess what I'm trying to say is a lot of your assumptions will it'll tell people, it'll tell people whether you're worth arguing with or not. And most of it has to do with where your ethics lies. But anyway, let's go.
I'm going to say that somebody is meta, or their assessment is very meta. So the idea being that it's something that's big generality is greater than the typical specific sense. So metaphysics would be beyond physics. It's talking about what is real and what is the fundamentals of all reality, which that's it's studies from around 100 years.
That would have been recorded in January 2020, just so you know.
I think it was 2 years ago, something like that. So metaphysics. So when somebody talks about what things are, what reality is actually made of, comprised of, I found it a little bit counterintuitive to find out what their distinctions were. So the most famous one of metaphysical stance would, of course, be Cartesian dualism from Descartes, and so dualism as a two. So saying that the entire universe is comprised of two different types of things. Those two things would be me and not me. Now, I'm not talking about Dave Rayburn today. We're not talking about you yourself as well. Things would either be like me or it would be a not me. And there are some really interesting exercises in which you can do, like I said, in the second video. If you get very clear about what reality is made of, you end up taking that extra brain power that you use for that all the time and put it into something else with full force. It's like, okay, well, that works great. So one exercise they have in Buddhism is to look around, not me, just looking at one and say, hey, that's not me. How do you know it's not me? It's because I can't control it just with my arm. I can move my hand, just whenever I want, because I might slow hand or anything like that. So that part is me, but my bubble is not me. I used to use a little trick with my students to get this idea across me and not me, and how the actual answer is quite surprising on what's me and what's not me. One would be, okay, so what about me? Is that me or is that not me? So yeah, that's you. Okay, we're going to cut it off. Is that me or is the rest of me? And we say, oh, the rest of me is me. So okay, what about my head? I chop off my head. And so is this me or is this me? And I had one student, best answer ever, they said, doesn't matter, you're dead. He said, we broke that one. He's like, let's get dead, doesn't matter. The more you peel away the layers of what you call yourself, then the more you find out that consciousness is what you actually are as a person. It's the only part that's always there. They call it immutable. And I love that term because I think the TV, it's like, what can you undo? What can you pause? You say stop that. Anything that you can't pause is more you than something that you can pause. So for example, you go back in the head and you get to your brain image. You might not remember your name. You might not remember your memories. So your memories in that sense are not you. That's some pretty heavy stuff to think of. And there are other metaphysical stances, other dualists saying that it's wrong. But it's such a compelling argument. That's why it's so popular. Now brings me over to Immanuel Kant and his basically the first limitations of critical reason. What he ends up doing to establish what can be known is he goes through the faculties of cognition. So as a mind, what can be taken? What is possible? What do we notice? We're aware of the fact that we have two faculties of cognition. One of them is perception. So that would be your ability to perceive colors, and then using those colors and the perception depth. You make a shape. The perception is also around hearing, your taste, your tactile, so you're able to touch things or different smell. So five senses. So that's all the perception. Now clearly, a concept is not something that's perceived. It's something that is inside your head, something you notice thinking about it. So it's sort of faculty. Now, if you tear that apart like Kant did.
Yeah, the direction this is going in is what can be known. And that's part of saying what I do know. So it's like, hey, you want to know what can be known, this is it, and blah, blah, blah.
You'll notice that you've got ideas here, you've got all the different perceptions here, so your ability to perceive things. It depends on the things that are coming into your head and the things you can be aware of. If you look at physics, they say like when you look at something in a certain color, what you're actually doing is you see light that comes from, for example, the sun. It hits the object, it bounces off, and then those photons they hit your redness and they stimulate the cells that get passed on to your brain. But the important thing is when you perceive that something is green, it's because it's absorbing all of the colors except for the ones that bounce back into your eyes. So something appears to be green, not because the green colors, the green part of the spectrum bounces off the object and hits your eyes, and all the other colors like red, they're absorbed by the object, so that's not reflected. So if you know that, it gives a lot of weight to what Kant found and said that we can't know the qualities of the object without us being there. We don't know the object in itself. And then when you use concepts like I just did, saying that this is what people say, what scientists say is going on when you perceive color, that's a bunch of concepts, and you can either ignore those or go along with them, and that does not affect what actually is going on. And so what Kant was saying is that there is something called the thing itself that would be separate from what we're able to be involved in as a thinker. So the way of studying that is that through conception and perception, any combination of the two, you are unable to access the thing itself. Now here's a heavy one from a writer in American from Wolf, and he because he was aware of that, he started to go find a way to know the thing itself. His vehicle was Hinduism, he was aware of Buddhism, and he did make some references to Taoism, so that's Taoism as well. He was a prof at Stanford, he was educated at Harvard, and Stanford mathematics was what he mostly did. But he was looking for a third faculty of cognition. And the third faculty of cognition, other than conception and perception, he calls interception, which is knowledge through identity. And so what he was able to do is he was able to penetrate through and pay attention to his awareness and consciousness to find out that because everything else is immutable, other than your awareness, you cannot disprove your own awareness, you cannot disprove that you're conscious. And there are a lot of problems in science right now that are trying to get around the fact that you're conscious, but that's very material, so I discussed earlier. So I digress, sorry about that. But knowledge through identity means you can know some things just because you are what you are claiming to know. And the example that I use, basically the one thing that you can get from introspection when it's active is hey, I'm here, hey, I'm aware. And just because you're aware, that gives you certain metaphysical and epistemological pieces of knowledge that you wouldn't be able to do otherwise. You realize that just the fact that I'm investigating something, just the fact that I'm aware, proves that I do have existence. So what have you to say? Descartes said, I think therefore I am. That's not as far, that's not as deep down as this idea of this faculty of perception, where you realize that I must be here because just the act of investigating, how can an act of investigation happen if it's made of unreal components? It can't be done. There must be something that's real. And so when I was discussing the idea of materialism versus idealism in the Golden Mean, you use Occam's razor, which I'll discuss in not discuss this one after that. You can use that to consciousness income.
Okay, so yeah, I could tell that emotionally, I was getting pretty into it right there, and part of the reason is because I knew who I was talking to and how basically impossible to reach they are, which is nihilists. Anybody who believes that the entire universe doesn't actually exist, or there's nothing real outside of themselves, or whatever they want to look at. They're really, really tough people to reach, and that's the way of saying it's like, hey, there is a way where you can turn it around and go like, oh shit, this is all real. But basically, like I'm saying, like, how do you have a conversation with somebody who doesn't even know if they're real or not? It's going to be different from, most extroverts, they wouldn't even consider that somebody might be talking to them and thinking, but am I actually even here right now? But yeah, it happens, and that's why that's the thing. But let's keep going.
Find out a lot more than science is able to do. And it sounds like a bunch of hippie garbage, and that's why I was so quiet for so long. Is I had to be really certain this is the case and find out what you can find out from intersection. So basically, to summarize, I want to say that there is a thing called metaphysics, which is where people are trying to figure out what the fundamental bits of reality are made of. I went through dualism, where the two fundamental bits of reality are me and not me. Buddhism as a metaphysics would be labeled as a radical monism, which is through their examination, particularly through writers such as Nagarjuna, you can find out that it's a radical monism because they're saying that the distinction between the subject side, as in idealism, the watcher, cannot exist without something being watched. You can't have an aware and an aware system. You cannot have an aware subject without objects in their awareness. Consciousness, I'm making the distinction between consciousness and awareness. Awareness requires the presence of objects, whereas consciousness does not. Consciousness does not require a known subject, and consciousness does not require an object to awareness. So that was heavy weird stuff. And I want to share this stuff because that's what mindfulness it is useful for clearing your mind, so that you can focus on the mundane day-to-day stuff. Like, hey, I got to make this this lead page converted higher. Hey, I need to switch careers so that I can start a family and so my wife eventually, all that kind of stuff. These are all very important things. And one of the problems with all mental illness, even in cases where I wouldn't call it illness or even consider indication or something, there's a flaw or something. If you're not busy thinking about moving into things, you'll do a better job of your job and learning things. Speaking of learning things, I have a book. It's on Amazon.com. I'll figure it out. If you look for Dan Framework, you'll find it just as easily. I've horribly failed. I haven't put the link to it inside the comments here, but the book is called Attention to Detail Handbook, and the
cool. There it is. Do they work?
Learn a new skill from zero. Learn how to do something new that will help your business.
Yeah, that will work.
Help you improve your situation, career. I hope this is pretty cool.
How about this one?
Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.
Does that work? Cool. That works too. One more. What do you think, everybody? Has anybody joined yet?
All I know stuff. This is day 5 in a row of a bunch of common stuff for you guys to check out. So today I'm talking about something that I already alluded to in retreat, which we're talking about materialism versus idealism. What exactly is it? So to repeat myself because that's so popular, materialism. It's the big theory, materialism, naturalism of the type of no incarnate intelligence, basically no active deity. That's on one side, and the other side would be idealism. With materialism, what they believe is there's a thing called a universe of reality and its own stuff, and the fact that there are aware subjects, people that are aware, they're self-reflective, they actually watch the universe doing this thing. They believe that the existence of the universe is independent of that of having observers, people, anything that's alive that is conscious. So that's they believe, and they believe that any other view is focus. Well, anthropocentrism, so believing that people are in the center of the universe, it's all here for us. They think that's a very egoic standpoint, and it sure sounds like it. It sure sounds like if people, because they're dying or anything else, they delude themselves in believing there's a high purpose for the world. And materialists would say, well, no, that's so much cookie, and we're not special. We can be here or not be here. The world's here for us. The world will be here after us. And that would be materialism. Idealism would be the other side where they believe that consciousness is first, and then the substance inside reality is second. So basically, the universe is dependent on aware subjects being there to observe it, and otherwise it's there is just nothing. There's nothing there to be observed. So that one, there are a few reasons why people find that whole idea problematic. The ones that I already said. But it's important to realize that there are parts of science that are so close to the limit of observation and what can be noticed about materials that you'll find that the materialist stance actually has substantial evidence against it. The big one would be the two-slit experiment, which is an experiment where you have a laser, or even they have these guns that will fire single photons at a time. So photons, if you want to think about it like a particle, imagine it's just a tennis ball. So the two slits are basically any piece of paper or something like that. piece of metal with two little slits next to each other. And the idea is that you just fire a laser or beam light through them. And notice this one, the projector swinging the other side. Notice these lines of interference. So what happening is the light is also has a wave property very similar to sound, which is like if you know about resonance, or if I go and another person also goes if you add them together, you get a louder sound. The part that you're not going to know is that if you put it out of phase, because the way sound works is that you get some air that's pressurized together because something's hitting something. So there's an extra amount of air pressure due to the sound, which is where you get a whole bunch of air molecules that are pushed together because of the force of labor make a sound. But the thing is that for that to be possible, like that compressed air must be followed by a part that's not compressed. There's a part that has lower than normal air pressure. So it goes between waves of high pressure and low pressure following each other, and that we receive a sound. In light, you have the exact same thing, but one thing they can do, because you've seen, I'm sure that the sun soul waves, that this waves are, like zero here, higher and lower and back to normal. So that's what we're marking that we're applying this direction. So in any one spot, you'll see a high pressure bit, and you'll see a lower than normal pressure bit before it gets back to zero. So that's how that works. And if you have two that are in phase, it'll make the high pressure parts having even higher pressure, and the lower pressure points will have even less. So what you do, I have noise canceling headphones that I use. What it does is it uses the inverse of the wave. So in the example wave that I gave at first, it starts at zero, it goes to high pressure, it goes to low pressure, and then back to zero. If you do the opposite, which is you create an area of low pressure first, and then an area of high pressure, and then back to zero, and you make one cycle of going from high pressure to low pressure. If you make it the exact opposite of the original sound, you can cancel it out. You can't cancel it out in all places, but if you ever notice that if you got stereo going in wide different parts of the room, you'll find bits where you have no bass, or you have spots where you have no treble, or you notice quiet spots. Not obviously because there's something between you and the speaker, but it's just because the sound will bounce from the sound from the speaker, it'll hit a wall, and it'll come back. If they have those opposite wavelengths, then you'll end up having quiet. So with this two-slit experiment, because light those tensors have wave features, what will happen is two different photons will interfere with each other, and so you end up getting bright spots on projection. So you have the two slits, you get these bright lines, and you get dark lines, and you get bright line, dark line, dark line, dark line, because the lasers go through two slits, will interfere with each other and make stronger, brighter bits, and make dark bits. The thing that's from equilibrium that leads to materials versus fields we're talking about on physics is that they've made a way to fire single photons at a time, and if they do it on an observer actually affects what happens. But the thing is the single photons will actually do a pattern where it interferes with itself. Even though it's impossible, how can a tennis ball in one slit and then somehow also go through another slit and interfere with itself? Well, the fact is it does, and they found that there's a relationship between the experiment being observed by someone who's aware and what's actually shown on the photograph plate. So this is a big problem in physics because they don't want to have an observer have an impact on the result of an experiment. And I'm not prepared to really flesh this out completely because they're supposed to be short, bite-sized videos each day talking about things that you might be interested in more research in. But basically what I'm saying is that there are things in science that can be used, trust me. Quantum physics is very difficult. If one good book, Ryan Green has something like the Elegant Universe, and the other one that I have, which is more updated, talking about string theory, is found at cosmos. It talks about how it's even possible to have more than 3 dimensions. That's something that I told this one time. The fast version for having more 3 dimensions is actually pretty simple if you understand computers. So 3D means that you've got E left, E right, E out. Okay, those are 3 different directions, but all those change in time. So the thing is, like you can say at 3 o'clock he was this far up E, this far left, E right, and this far E out, and over time, so you got 4 dimensions. Because you can say 1 hour later he was at this up, this left, E right, and this E back. Okay, and so that's 4 dimensions. But they say there's more dimensions. And he does a great job of talking about what does that even what would it mean if you're in a 2D universe? And it's really good stuff. I was told that there is no good book for somebody to get on board with string theory, but that's not true. Anyway, so these are kind of scientific experiments with billions of companies involved. So the large hadron collider using particle accelerator stuff. They're serious with your powering these observations. They're serious, money behind it. These are not stupid people. These are brilliant people, and they're running into the issue basically since Einstein, around Einstein's time, where idealism has to be addressed. If I go back to the third lesson about the golden mean and how factfulness, factuality, or true or false, it's spectrum. It's not either. It's definitely true. No, it's definitely not true. It's always in between. So there's part of it that's true. There's part of it that's not true. We always make perfect theories, and we're trying to isolate out and deduce what's possible. So basically what I'm saying is you shouldn't put all your eggs in materials in a basket. You like a lot of things anyway. And you shouldn't put all your eggs in a basket like idealism either, because like a straight idealist who believes that life is but a dream and we'll just create our own realities. That's not going to work very well, because if you get into car accident, get black over the head, you find very quickly that those things that are material based, they will come up and make very real effects on the mind. And if the mind is still power that's controlling the universe, that's at least that's not possible. So that was the kind of stuff. And I'm doing these daily videos for a few reasons. One of the biggest ones is if you want to have something where you know your ethics are in the right place, you know they got big, you know they can take all of these extreme conflict and put it in one place whole with them. Then this video is called funnelfix.com, and you can get your consultation, your business, and funnel exam, including financial structure, all that kind of stuff. We might come, but if you just want to get your shit together when it comes to your life and thinking things through and get rid of things, there are some of the contradictions that hold, and you realize our problem had. Then now you go ahead and grab a book, figure it out, it's available hands on, and it's the attention to detail. It's the main push of the work is to help you learn things from zero, to help you work career or build your business and live a better life, and make better choices based on using your attention to detail. I hope this was fun. Check us out figgerridouts.com. I'll catch you next time. Bye.
Bing, and I'm gonna hit pause right there. Okay, so was that fun or what? I hope it was fun. I hope you enjoyed our little time together and all that kind of stuff. But I'm going to end this stream, and make sure you comment and hit like and subscribe and shit, or else I'm not going to be doing a whole whack more of these. I might do 1 or 2 or something, but I don't know if anybody gets a kick out of watching somebody who can understand every word at 2.5 times, even when it's, well, of course it's me yapping, so that helps, but I don't know, fuck it. Anyway, I'll talk to you later. Bye.